let's rip in. Another day, another coffee. And another day, another 20 minutes. Let's go. All right. After a long, hard think, I think the rides are okay. I'm going to leave them. But what I did want to do before I jumped on, just to have a bit of a play around, is I've added a tremolator from Sound Toys. And I'll just overemphasize it so you can see what it's doing. In fact, I'm just going to duplicate this. And I'll turn one off. Turn that one off and get rid of it. Yep, that one's back up. Okay, so this is what it's doing. I'm just going to overemphasize the depth. You can see it's giving it like a nice rhythm and movement. So I do want a natural feel though. So I just overemphasize things with the depth all the time to then get it the way that I want it. And then I'll always just back it off to where it suits. So in the grand scheme of it, nothing. It's almost giving just like a bit of breathing room to where the hats are. So yeah. There we go. So there we go. Awesome. Just give them a bit more movement in the right places. Sometimes that can help too. They need mixing obviously, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. This is fine. So now that that's done, drums are good. I really want to try and get this section through here with the build up, really building tension and getting the build up spot on with a few more elements, really rising it up and then having a big hook here. Get rid of this. So I've got a vocal coming in, so I need to try and fix this section up through here. It's kind of cool for now to give us a bit of momentum into the first drop, but I really want to build the energy up a bit slower and really have it progress through the drop to then really build up through the breakdown and just come in hard in the last section before the outro type thing. So the whole song realistically wants to build up to like one point where it's got to release, you know, it releases the full message for a little bit. Everyone kind of goes, oh my God. And then, you know, you kind of mix out and you're into the next thing. So, yeah, everyone's different, but that's just the way I find works for most of the shit that I do anyway. But, yeah, let's rip in and see what we can do. Just quickly, I also added a little bit of overdrive to the Foleys just to give them a little bit more oomph. Bit of distortion always feels nice. And then when I listened in headphones too, I did notice that it's a little bit too boomy. I never thought I'd get to say, but just like a little bit. problematic, the 130 hertz range. I got another song that I'm doing at the moment with someone who I can't give away too much information yet, and we have experienced the exact same problem. So if he does watch this, I'm sure he'll have a good laugh, because we were literally going over this exact issue in the exact same spot last night. Ah, the joys. So if I play it from, let's go about like 300 hertz, bit of resonance. I really hope you guys can hear that. I can hear a big difference. It's going like like it's pulling that resonance down. This resonance that I'll just play again. Now look, you could dynamic EQ it as well, but I just find that ducking it all together. Right there. I'm going to dip there, and I'm going to dip 130 as well. And make it the same. So we'll go 4 on both. And 4. Play it with the hats. So it's definitely the green one that I'm not liking. It's that big boomy sound, at 80 hertz. And this one can maybe just go like negative 1.5. Yeah, it's just pulling that down nicely as well. Low end joys. Like I said, it's fine though. It's fine. In terms of like writing, it's done. This is more like just, mixing stuff, but not crazy mixing stuff yet. Just more or less making sure it's nice and balanced and not overpowering, and very precise is the word I'm looking for. Very precise. All right, copy's done. Let's get on with this build. Going too hard on the limit or anything. Sometimes it's always good just to check. So one thing I can say is it is cool, but it's just a bit too intense for the first part of the song. We kind of don't want to give that all away. So like you can, but maybe just having it a bit smoother and really not letting the acid take over the show of the build-up, not be the center of attention, and kind of really have it dwindling in the background waiting for its time to shine. I think that's going to be a better option, because it's going to give us not only more to play around with the song, but also it's just going to transition a lot nicer and keep it exciting as well. Flying around. Okay. Not perfect, but much better. Much better. See, it's like giving a little bit away, it's giving a bit of a taste, and then bang, we're pulling it back in again, and we're letting it build up from nothing. And then that gives us more room to, through here, bun up, can go put like a little, I want to do like a little synth hook or something there, to kind of help out that clap a bit, and then let that, go bang into the drop. That'll be really cool too. And then that adds variation, and then we can start adding that in through other parts of the drop and so on. So yeah, if you need to do what I did here with the riff staying on, just to kind of get the song progressing and then come back and change it, by any means necessary, make sure you do stuff like that. Otherwise you'll get stuck, and then, I don't know, maybe the pronunciation of the drop won't hit as hard as other areas or whatever, but the drop hits good for the moment, but it's more or less, we're just trying to find a happy medium between building the tension nicely and having it hit nicely in the drop, and then there's other ways that we're going to go about automating it in a lot nicer and building more tension and so on. So yeah, next thing I probably want to do is add a bit of noise through here. So there's a few ways you can do this, but I'm just going to use operator for this. So I'm just going to go into instruments, operator, and then I want to go to noise white. You can use anything, pink noise, any sort of noise, doesn't really matter. You're just filtering it at the end of the day and volume automating it. So I can use a low pass here, which is good. I'm just going to quickly go ahead and chuck an EQ on this, so we're cutting all the low end out. Where are we? There we go. I'm just going to bring that all the way up here for now. I'll just go like 700 for now. It should be sweet. Start the filter maybe a little bit higher. So white noise always helps, as you can hear. I just turned it up really loud so we can hear it through, but there's no reason why we can't automate it with the utility as well, because I like it at that volume. So I can just leave it at -8, and then I can just automate this here. Try not to automate these channels, because it'll fuck you up later on in the mixing stage. If you automate the gain here, you've just got more control. Yes, it's annoying because you've got to click back into the channel and whatnot, but I just personally, and whether I get slagged for this or not, I don't really care, but I just find that it's a real amateur rookie move to automate this, because you're not thinking about how it can affect you later on. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it will. When you go to export stems or, you know, mixing in general, which generally means exporting stems to do it in another project, it'll stuff you up. And especially if you've like mucked around with it or whatever, and this little icon's on up here and you've got that kind of live change, it's called, or whatever, like that can stuff you up with your export as well. So just be super duper duper mindful that, yeah, try and do things in the channel, you know, even if you want, you can automate the volume here. Doesn't really matter. It's just more or less keeping it in the channel so you're not muddying up the other processes later on. And can get rid of that. Can, yeah, bring that down here. So we're really building it up from nothing. Now the other thing I love doing as well is creating stereo in this. So there's one thing I want to do, which is just automate the rate a bit. So the amount as well. I don't really go past 80, so I can have it somewhere. Have this somewhere down here. As you can hear already what that's doing. So we're creating like a in the background, and it's like really hitting the sides, and it's like not taking away from the acid being more in the center. You know, it's really kind of not clashing with it. I think the delay of the acid is clashing a little bit with it. So what I can do is bring the width back in a little bit. So I can go like 6 on the width. We can try and bring this in a bit more. Maybe I might go, yeah, like 5 or 6. Just go 5. Maybe, yeah, I'll just leave it at, I'll go 2K. Perfect. What else is nice is a bit of reverb. I'm going to bring it before the utility. Just to wash it out a lot. Overdrive. Pretty nice and aggressive. Put the pan after the reverb, see how this sounds. Yeah, we're panning the reverb too. Which can be cool, but that can create issues as well. So maybe I'll just put the pan before the reverb. So it's like reverbing normally, but like the pan's moving. See that? So we're still getting that same big reverb feel, but like it's doing its own thing. So look, there's no right or wrong way to do that. I think it's cool to experiment and see what works for your song. Maybe it works better the other way around, but it's the same as like compressing reverb, you know, which is what I'm going to get to as well, is, you know, compress the sound before the reverb, compress the reverb to the sound, yada, yada, yada. Just see like everything requires different treatment. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's what A, sounds good to you, and B, what works in conjunction with everything else in the scenario or setting that you're doing it. So make sure that, just check and see, like have a bit of a muck around, because sometimes like you might find a better way to do things that, you just go, oh my God, like I've put this before that and it's added such a cool, crazy effect, and so on, so on. So never kind of settle for what it is and think that it's the right way to do it all the time. Keep experimenting, keep going nuts. Like I can put this overdrive after the reverb, see what this does. We're distorting the shit out of the reverb, but it sounds cool. Oh, that's really nice too, but it's adding a lot of harmonics, so I just want to be careful. I don't think I do want to do it, but you can hear the difference that that's making. We're distorting the reverb, we're distorting the noise and the reverb through the overdrive, which is giving it a completely different, crazy sound. So the only other thing I want to do now is, compress the living shit out of this thing. So I'll let the transients through, so I'll just let that in. I'll put this on 4. Sometimes when you set the ratio, you can really hear what you're doing with the envelope better as well. Always try and remember that. So I'll go 35. I always treat the auto button like it's a sync button on a CDJ. Like it's just the cheating way to compress. And don't get me wrong, it's good. Use it as a cheat code in the sense like try and hear what it's doing. Use it in relativity with what you're doing. But I find 9 times out of 10, I'll actually go through and I'll find a bit of a happy medium that I like between what I think's right and what the auto thinks right. And then I'll settle for there. And then that way I know it's kind of never wrong. But that's how I do it. Don't always go off what I do. It's just more or less, that's another good way to do it and keep it interesting. Don't always rely on this little auto button. That's not going to save your life, but sometimes it does make the compressor respond better to the way that you are using it. So therefore, use it sparingly. Yeah. I just want to hear how loud this goes. Bloody makeup game. Okay, so we're losing 8 dBs, so I'm just going to bring this up 8 dBs now that it's compressed. You can hear how we're gluing the reverb to the sound, and then we're bringing it all up together. I think the most common rookie problem is people rely on the makeup gain and go, oh my God, it's compressed and it's fucking crazy. Like all it's doing is adding volume and it's not giving you the response that you want. Compression is all about taking the quieter parts and the loudest parts and bringing them into contact with one another so that it's all one big, long, same sounding waveform, if that makes sense. It's the best, easiest way to describe it. Otherwise, that is time, guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.